If you're watching this video, then there's a good chance that you're a developer who's frustrated with people moving around columns in their Google Sheets, even though you've told them not to on plenty of occasions and it's breaking the program. Otherwise, you might be a user of one of these sheets and you're frustrated with not being able to move around the columns and customize the spreadsheets the way you like to without everything breaking and falling apart. Today we're going to fix this problem together by building programs in Google Apps Script that navigate through the data based on column titles, not on the column numbers, which are prone to get moved around. And this program is going to do a lot of other cool stuff too. We're going to sync two lists of data based on first name plus last name, which is a less than ideal scenario that you run into, unfortunately, all too often. And we're also going to show you how to take the spreadsheet that was synced with your master list and to pull an extra field or more than one field from a third spreadsheet and fill it in. Our hypothetical setup, we're in a company's payroll department. Our company gets its information into Google Sheets from a nightly info dump from the main business management software that we're using. Most of the information in our payroll sheet will come directly from this master sheet, but imagine that the employees need to get their email addresses assigned at Human Resources. We'll still need to get this one column of information from the Human Resources sheet. And because this whole system spans multiple departments, it's important to have column title-based navigation, which is just having our program run based on the titles of columns rather than the column numbers. With the system based on column numbers, it's not too long until somebody will go in and insert or move a column and the program will break. Let's take a look at the program in action. Here's the master list. You can see it has all the employee information, but it's missing the email. Our payroll list right now is currently empty, so we want this to inherit the information from the master list, but it's going to have to get the email from the HR employee list, which has most of the information from the master list, but not all of it, but it does have email, and that's where we're going to get that information from. In order to actually run a program in Google Sheets, there are a couple of ways you can do this. One is that you would go to the extensions, then app script. And this is all we have here. It's a pointer to our library, and then it tells it which function to run. And so we could hit the run button right here. If you have more than one function, there's a drop down here, and you'd have to pick which one you want to run. It doesn't run all of them. But right now we only have one. And so if we hit run, and then watch what happens on the payroll sheet. And I just have a lot of different console logs there for testing. But if we go to the payroll sheet, here's all of our information. It got this from the master sheet, but of course it's missing email, which it has to get from the Human Resources page. Now to demonstrate that part, I'm just going to go to our code here. I'm sorry, not the extension app script for the payroll sheet, but actually our main library where we have the code for the program. And in the main library, we already have the function written for it to add the emails from the Human Resources. It's just been commented out. So let's remove those and save it. And then we'll go back and just delete all of this information from the payroll sheet, so that's now blank. The master list still has its information, and so does the Human Resources sheet. And we're going to go to the payroll list, but the app script for that, and run our program here. A lot of console logs, but when we go to the payroll sheet, here you notice it added the emails with it. So that's all part of one program. The program does first go to the master list and add all the names, and then it adds the email addresses from the Human Resources sheet, but it does all of that as part of one program. But we also want this to work in the other direction, where if a name is removed from the master sheet, say we don't have this employee working at the company any longer, we want it to remove from the payroll list as well. So we have our 6 employees here, and let's remove one from the master sheet. let's say Michelle Miles got fired. And now we run the program again. Bring it over to the payroll list. And you see there, Michelle Miles just got deleted from this list as well. So now we have just 5 employees here. So it really is meant to sync these two lists and then bring the information over from these other fields in the master sheet. Now, for the grand finale of this, let's just show how this program doesn't break when we move these columns around a little bit. So let's empty out the payroll sheet once again. And let's maybe insert a column over here. Let's go to the master sheet. Insert a couple columns. Not delete one here. Insert one there. If it deletes one of these, then it might not work as well. But here we go. Okay, so we messed it all up. This would usually break the program really bad. And let's run it again just to make sure it's working. We'll go to the payroll list to confirm. And there you go. You see, yeah, we still have this blank column because that's the one we inserted. It didn't do anything with that, but it did detect where the email addresses should go, the location, and so on, all based on the column titles here. And at the same time, it did bring over the email list as well from the human resources page. To get the project set up on your computer, make a new folder for it. I called mine Current Projects. And inside this folder, there are 3 spreadsheets and our main library where we're going to put the code. If you want to see how to hook up a library so that all of your other sheets can run their code from it, check the video I have on setting up a central library for your code in Google Sheets, which I'll link in the description. Now to get the spreadsheet set up so that you can attach these programs to them, the first one is the master sheet we'll go into, and name the sheet itself down at the bottom here, master list, with the space between them, and then put in these column titles and some employee information here. And then we're going to take this information, we're just going to copy it and go over to the HR employee list. We're not really using this sheet for most of this data right now, other than adding an email column at the end, which is where the payroll list will get the emails from. Now I have some saved down here just for that purpose. And so now we have the HR sheet set up. And then in payroll, just put these column titles in and name the sheet PR employees, just like you see it on the bottom. All right, now to set up the code and get these hooked up to the main library. So there's a whole video about how to hook up a library, but let's go over it real quick here as well. So really, the only one we need to hook up to it right now is the payroll list. So let's go to that spreadsheet, click Extensions and App Script. And here, I already have it here, but let's go through how you'd set up this library. So over here you see libraries, and we already have this one called Main Library Payroll. If we click this plus to add another one, which at this point we won't want to do, but here it'll ask for a script ID that's asking for the identifier from our main library here. So you'd go to our main library, click that little gear icon, scroll down to the script ID, copy it, and then we would paste it here and click lookup. And it'll find it, and we would stay in the head development mode for now. It just means the changes that we make in the library go live here right away, which is what we do in development. And then we'd make an identifier for it. But yeah, that is all covered more in the other video. But you'll want to put in this code right here. The name of the program is column title updates. If you go to the main library, that is the name that we have for our program right here. And I'll show you where to get that here in just one moment. Now to get the code that you're going to put into the library. So you might start with something that's kind of blank and generic like this, like function, my function. What you want to do is delete anything that happens to be there. and then go to my GitHub, which is linked in the description, and you'll want to copy everything there. Here you see it is that same function that we just saw called column title updates. So select all, copy that, and then go and paste it into the main library. And what you'll want to do, these right here will not have numbers in them. These are the Google Doc IDs of the exact sheets I'm using. You'll want to go into each of these. For example, grab the master sheet. I'm going to take the ID here out of the address bar and copy it. This is for the master sheet, remember. And then I would go into this, master SS open by ID, and I would paste it between the quotation marks. And I would do that for all three sheets. And that way, these are all three of these are linked into the program. I just want to do a really quick overview of the structure of this program and the code that's used, and then in the future videos, we'll go through each component and see how to build it from the ground up. Our program is titled Column Title Updates, and the first thing it does is retrieve all three of our spreadsheets by their Google ID. This way we can run the program from any of these three spreadsheets, from an outside one, or even as an automatic sync overnight. Then we get each of the sheets in these three spreadsheets that we're interested in. We start off getting a 2D array of all of the information in each of these sheets with the get data range, get values. And as we'll see, we'll take the two-dimensional arrays and convert them into 1D arrays of objects, where the column titles are the object keys, and the value in that column for each row is the value. This next section right here just grabs the very first row, which is the header row, and in this way we can go to the next section and find the index of each of these column titles. These are the actual column titles as they show up in the spreadsheet, and what we'll get in each of these variables is a number, and that will be the column number for each of these titles. One of the main purposes of this program is to sync the data between our payroll sheet and the master sheet. So this means two things. First, if the master sheet has employees that our payroll sheet doesn't have, then we should add these employees to our payroll sheet along with all of their data. The other thing it means that if an employee was dropped off of the master sheet and we still have it in our payroll sheet, those items should be removed from our payroll sheet so that the two lists are consistent. Because of this, something in each row will need to be the unique identifier for each employee. Now, normally you should have an employee ID number. In our case, we don't have that. All we have is first and last name. So we need to make the unique identifier first name plus last name. That's what these functions right here do. They add the first and last name fields together so that we have something to compare when we're trying to sync these lists. Then we get to the part of the program that actually adds the new employees to our payroll sheet. It's going to compare those lists we just talked about and look for any that are on the master sheet that we don't have on ours, and it will add these employees to our list in the last rows of our sheet. It's going to have to retrieve all of the information from the master sheet, things like the annual salary, the location, deposit code, and all the other fields we've set up for each employee. The next part of the program is going to remove the employees from payroll that have been dropped from the master list that are no longer working here. So based on the comparisons we've done, we'll be removing all of the employees from our list that are no longer on the master sheet. A couple extra precautions need to be taken when we're removing rows from a Google Sheet with a program like this, because you can get a lot of unpredictable behavior. We'll talk about that in a separate video. Then comes the part of the program where we add the emails from the third sheet, which is the human resources sheet. And here at the very bottom, we have a custom function that we made to take our 2D array for all of the rows and columns of an entire spreadsheet and turn it into a one-dimensional array of objects where the column titles are the object keys and the values in that column are the values in the key value pairs. And that's it. With that, you should have the program up and running on your computer. Of course, you're going to want to make modifications for it to suit your specific needs. And for that, we're going to take a deep dive into the code, look under the hood, and see how all the different functions work. Specifically, the column title navigation, how to compare and sync lists, and then how to pull in data from a third sheet. See you there.